Some betrayals break you. Others build an empire. He left her for being ordinary, not knowing she was a storm learning how to breathe. He thought she would fade without him, but destiny had already chosen her for something louder. He walked away to chase a future, never knowing he'd walked out on a legend in the making. This is the story of the woman the world underestimated until the world had no choice but to kneel. The October rain tapped against the kitchen window of a modest Atlanta apartment as Elara Jameson, a 28-year-old black woman with warm, brown skin and a halo of tight, shoulder-length curls, carefully folded Mark's clean shirts. She wasn't required to, not really, but she liked the feeling of creating order, of giving love through small acts. Her life wasn't flashy, nothing about it glittered except her smile. But she lived with purpose, even if she didn't always feel it. She worked long hours as a junior UX designer at a mid-tier startup, rode the bus to cut transportation costs, and spent her evenings sketching concepts for a secret side project she wasn't ready to share with anyone. Not even with Mark, especially not with Mark. Mark Carter, her partner of 3 years, was a charming, sharp-jawed man in his early 30s, British-American, raised in Connecticut, with an accent he sharpened when talking to strangers. He often wore ambition like cologne. Strong, too strong at times. He liked labels, upward trajectories, metrics of success. If something didn't contribute to the future he envisioned, it didn't belong. Tonight he walked into the apartment without greeting her. His wet hair slicked back, his expression colder than the rain outside. She looked up from the laundry basket. "You're home early," she said, smiling softly. He didn't answer. Instead, he took a deep breath, exhaling sharply, almost rehearsed. "Elara," he began, "we need to talk." Her heart tightened. Those 4 words never ended kindly. She set down the shirt, giving him her full attention. "Okay, what's wrong?" He stood there, hands shoved into the pockets of his expensive coat, pacing once before meeting her eyes. "I don't think this is working anymore." The world around her seemed to freeze. The dryer hummed in the background, oblivious. "What? What do you mean?" she whispered. Mark's tone was detached, businesslike. "I mean us, this relationship." Cold, blunt, final. Elara blinked, trying to steady herself. "Mark, where is this coming from?" He sighed, running a hand across his jaw. "Look, you're sweet, really, but I need someone who's moving, someone ambitious, someone who can match where I'm going." The words stabbed. "You don't think I'm ambitious?" she asked quietly. "I think you're comfortable," he replied. "You have talent, sure, but you're not doing anything with it. No drive, no urgency. You talk about ideas, about maybe starting something someday, but there's no momentum. I'm building a future. I need someone who's already on her way, not someone hoping to get there eventually." Her breath trembled. "Mark, that's not fair." "It's reality," he cut in gently. "I'm not trying to be cruel. I can't carry someone who doesn't know what she wants." Elara stared at him, stunned. "So you're breaking up with me because you don't think I'm going to be successful?" He shrugged weakly, as if the question embarrassed him. "I'm breaking up with you because we're not aligned. I need someone with ambition." There it was. Not a betrayal sparked by another woman, not a fight, not a growing apart. He didn't believe in her. She swallowed hard. "So everything we built, everything we planned, it all ends because you don't think I'm good enough for the future you want?" His silence was confirmation. Finally, he added, "You'll be fine, Elara. You're stable, reliable. You'll land on your feet." Stable, reliable, like a safe, unimpressive bet, a consolation prize. Elara couldn't stop the tears from spilling. Not because he was leaving, but because she realized she had spent years loving someone who never truly saw her. Mark avoided her gaze, grabbed the boxes he had ordered the day before, and began packing his things. He didn't look back. The weeks that followed were cold, colorless, endless. Elara went to work, came home, cried in the shower, forced herself to cook, cried again, slept, repeated. She moved through life in grayscale, her heart heavy with humiliation and loss. But grief, like winter, eventually thaws. One morning she stood before her bathroom mirror, noticing how tired her eyes were, how small she looked in her oversized hoodie. "This can't be the end of my story," she whispered to herself. It was the first time she had spoken aloud in days. That night she opened her laptop and pulled up the files she had hidden away for months. Her dream project. A sustainable, AI-driven creative platform that allowed everyday people to generate professional-level designs without needing advanced tools or expensive software. She'd called it Lumina, a name she'd never told Mark. It wasn't just a design platform. It blended machine learning, ethical data sourcing, inclusive digitized art models, and user personas for people of all backgrounds and cultures. It wasn't made for corporations. It was made for creators who were overlooked, undervalued, just like she had been. Developing Lumina became her anchor. She coded after work until 2 a.m., teaching herself systems Mark said she didn't have the focus for. She sketched UI elements at bus stops. She watched online lectures during lunch breaks. She saved every spare dollar. There were obstacles, bugs, funding gaps, self-doubt, fear of failure. People at work dismissed her idea as niche, too idealistic, or too big for a solo dev. But Elara kept going. Her heartbreak became fuel. Her loneliness became discipline. Her silence became strategy. Every doubt became a stepping stone. She no longer needed Mark's validation. She no longer needed anyone's. It started with a single viral TikTok. A young content creator discovered Lumina's early beta version through a small subreddit where Elara had quietly posted a link for testers. A 30-second video. "Y'all, who made this? This is genius." Within 48 hours, the video had 6.2 million views. Elara's inbox exploded. Emails from creators, small businesses, digital artists, influencers, educators. Within a week, she had more than 110,000 signups for early access. Then came the investors, then the journalists. A small tech blog ran a piece titled, "Meet the Woman Behind Lumina, the design platform changing everything." From there, momentum became a tidal wave. A month later, the Atlanta Business Chronicle included her in their Innovators to Watch column. 2 months later, TechBloom magazine published a spread on her story. 3 months later, she received an email with a subject line she reread 20 times. "Forbes interested in scheduling an interview." Her hands shook as she replied. When the article went live, "The Visionary Black Woman Redefining Ethical AI Design," the world finally saw what Mark never could. Then came the moment that changed everything. A crisp morning in late June. Elara was sitting in her new minimalist office, still furnished cheaply, still smelling faintly of paint, when her phone buzzed nonstop. She frowned, picking it up. "Congrats! Elara, you made it. OMG, you're on the list." She opened the Forbes website. Her breath caught. There it was. Elara Jameson, founder and CEO, Lumina Forbes, 30 under 30, tech innovation, her photo, her name, her story. The girl he said had no ambition was now one of the country's most promising innovators. And it didn't stop there. Within 6 months, Lumina secured a massive funding round. Within 9 months, she crossed a net worth threshold that placed her among the wealthiest young tech founders in the region. Within a year, Lumina prepared for IPO consideration. Elara didn't just rise. She ascended. Meanwhile, Mark's life had taken a different turn. He had left the woman who loved him for a new relationship he thought would elevate him socially, a woman from a wealthy family with connections in corporate finance. But the relationship fizzled. The opportunities he thought would follow never materialized. His job, once promising, had stalled. He wasn't failing, but he wasn't rising either. He watched colleagues get promotions he believed he deserved. He moved into a smaller apartment to cut costs. His confidence faded, replaced by a quiet bitterness. Then one evening, while scrolling through Instagram, he paused. A mutual friend had posted a story. "Proud of you, Elara. Forbes 30 under 30. He stared at the name, and then the photo. Elara, glowing, powerful, unrecognizable from the woman he once dismissed. He clicked the link, reading the Forbes profile in stunned silence. Founder, CEO, innovator, millionaire, visionary. Words he had never imagined being associated with her. His stomach dropped. His chest tightened. He thought she'd always stay where he left her. Safe, predictable, unremarkable. But she had become everything he claimed she wasn't. The next week only made it worse. At a co-worker dinner, someone mentioned Lumina. You know the founder is from Atlanta, right? Black woman. Brilliant. Made the Forbes list last year. Absolute beast. Someone else added, my niece uses her platform. Says it changed her whole business. Mark forced a smile, hoping no one noticed how pale he had become. Then, what's funny is, didn't you date an Elara a while back? Was it the same one? That'd be wild. He lied. No, different person. But they didn't believe him. Whispers followed. Stares. Curiosity disguised as politeness. And regret, sharp, suffocating, wrapped around him like a vice. Mark had built his identity around upward mobility, but he was now the cautionary tale. The man who let go of a future he wasn't wise enough to foresee. Elara never reached out, never gloated, never mentioned him. She didn't block him because he didn't matter enough for that. She didn't stalk his profile because her life was full now. Of meetings, breakthroughs, team celebrations, gratitude, and purpose. People admired her, respected her, learned from her. Industry leaders sought her advice. Young Black girls looked up to her. Creators around the world used her platform. Her success wasn't revenge, it was growth. Mark was simply a footnote in her origin story. One evening, as Elara walked through Lumina's newly expanded headquarters, a building buzzing with life, filled with diverse young creatives who believed in her vision, she paused by the large window overlooking the city. Atlanta glittered beneath her, warm and alive. Her CFO approached. Press wants to know if you're ready for that cover shoot next month. She smiled. Yeah, tell them I am. Her reflection in the glass was different now. Strong, confident, centered. Not because she was wealthy, but because she finally believed in her own potential. The world saw her, but more importantly, she saw herself. Mark's name never crossed her mind. He didn't deserve a place in the life she built. Her success wasn't meant to make him regret losing her. Her success was meant to prove that, when the world underestimates a woman like Elara, it only delays the inevitable. She was always meant to rise, with or without him, and she did.